Hi folks. Well, let's get a little update. I was out in Fernley ice driving and I burned some big A rubber out in the middle of nowhere. Made a bunch of smoke. Just like old times. I love little burning rubber in the evening. So I pulled over and did a turn, and my differential was So kept going, did and then it turned, went straight, it's quiet, turned the other way, goes So I'm like, oh God, spider gears. I probably messed up something in the differential. I've been doing that for a year. Don't get really good burnouts because my brakes were kind of locking up on the wheel that needs to free. This one needs to kind of stay. The right side on the peg leg needs to at least come loose enough to ramp up that wheel. With 276 gears and a tired old 440, yeah, I guess it was a little tough. But it did a good job this time. And then it started squeaking. And squeaking, I had a Jeep Cherokee Chief once. No, it was a freaking Laredo. Drove it back across the country. Probably got some water in the diff somewhere because I like to go through rivers and things on the West Coast. And it was doing the same kind of squeaky for a week or so. When I went dancing, country dance, I'd come back in my Jeep Laredo 401, tired old 401 Jeep Laredo. And one day I'm driving around Huntington Beach. And it was a Bondo mobile, I'm sure. I know my parents didn't really like it. My mom didn't like it, but it was one day, it would squeak occasionally and then go away. One day I'm cruising really close to home, and all of a sudden, bang, and the whole diff locked up at about 20, 30 miles an hour on that little 4-lane, kind of empty street. And all I did is, they were locked up, and like, I better not stop here, so big old skid marks beside the road, parked it kind of nice, got out, and the fucking diff was locked up. Took it to AMCO. I was poor. This is 20 years ago. My mom told me to sell it because I, at that point, couldn't afford other shit, you know. You might know how that goes. So I sold it. Had no car. Borrowed the family car for a while, trying to get my business going. Anyway, this had a similar kind of squeak. That squeak is a tiny bit similar. And I used to think the squeak on the Laredo was the brake drums because it wing, wing, wing. Well, it must have been bearings in that Laredo. I never pulled it apart because I wasn't mechanicking that back then. And so I think this squeak is similar. So I'm like, it could be bearings. This axle has end play. And if you tighten up the right side, there's an adjustment for the axle end play. The two axles butt up against each other inside the diff on these Chrysler 8 3/4. They butt completely against. The end of the axle is polished, and the other axle butts. I'm thinking maybe that they got hot and got too close together, and they burned there, or the bearings went, or the spiders died, and the spider, it's probably that. The spiders' bushings, where the spiders get pushed out as they're doing a triple spin, you know. It ain't so great to peg leg a monster, but yay, you know. I didn't buy this car to bore myself, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get at it, but as I cleaned this off, it's only about, again, this whole thing was about, that's snow from a week ago. It ain't, fell off the car and it's been here ever since. So it's kind of cold around the Reno area. Anyway, these things are okay. Oh, does it lock up now? But anyway, it feels okay. This brake isn't hard. The other wheel would spin, so we're kind of free, but I pulled in and out. Sorry. Push, pull, push. That feels like, I don't know, 40, 50, 80, 100 thousandths, eighth of an inch. I don't know what that is, but when I set it and set my adjuster on the other side that I made myself, if you've seen that video 2 years ago, I made a little cog plate that bolts on and holds the adjuster on the other side, inside, that tightens the bearing cones and axles together so they have correct end play, which is, I think it's about 05 to 11 or something. It's supposed to have that end play. I think I set it tight before. Maybe that thing came a little loose. When they get too loose, the bearing races on this era of axle, they start to, the cones will be far apart and the bearings start to get a little far apart, and the axle can drop a little bit as it's rolling, so it can change, and then you'll start to mess your oil seal on the inside, and it'll get past the oil seal, and then you get the drip. When I bought this car, it had the drip, and it turned out someone didn't install on the other side, didn't reinstall the axle adjuster stopper, and it was really loose, like push, pull, let's see, pull, push. Oh, I can't really show it that easy. Well, I'm gonna get this off. Am I gonna pull the axle out? I'm still gonna pull the axle out. Sorry this is getting long, but you might know what's going on. And it might be interesting, and it might not. But you know, if you're a gearhead, you like suck all this kind of stuff up no matter what. So 65 Monaco. I think that was actually a tire that went bad and whacked it. You know, 2 years ago I thought it was hit and repaired. No, one of these tires, someone ran an old tire and it came apart and it whacked up in there and bent stuff. So someday I'll get to that, you know. I'm having a pretty good time. Heater's working okay. Thank you to the heat machine. So I cleaned this off with water because it's so freaking cold. Brushed it, cleaned it, wiped down. It's like 30 degrees right now. I got a bear suit on. I'm okay. This is how you work stuff when it's cold. You just put this on over everything else, and you can kind of keep going. And I don't think you care, but when you wear water shoes, you can feel the damn ice before you slip. These are thin. If you don't got snow and crap going down your shoe, you can feel, it's like moccasins, man. You can feel the ice kind of under your feet, and you know much better when to fucking be careful. So that's coming off with air wrench, and I'll pull this out and we'll have a good look. And maybe I'll show you more, and I'm not sure. Maybe I won't, but I'd like to. And thank you very much, and you're welcome.